Okay, hey, now this is one we've waited for a while. We've been talking about interviewing Jerry for at least 3 or 4 months. So, Jerry, welcome.
Thank you. Even though I'm just, two buildings down.
Yeah, but it's always tough. It's always busy. So, um, I don't know how to say. I'm going to introduce Jerry fast, but I'm going to let him talk a little as well on the introduction. But Jerry has been with us since literally the first big trip. That was early October of 2005 to Biloxi, and with
Six.
2006, correct? Yeah, we didn't predate Katrina.
We're that good.
We predicted where it was coming. No, but I just personally, I didn't know Jerry before BonaResponds, and a very good friend. I just, someone you can count on through thick or thin. When something goes wrong, what do we do? Let's call Jerry. So Jerry, welcome.
No, thanks for that introduction.
Sure.
So like I said, yeah, I've been, I just remember you and you had come back. You'd already been there twice, I think.
Yeah.
In October and then over Christmas break. And you and the students had, put together a presentation for the Friday forums, whatever they called them back then. And, it was one of the things where if you didn't go right back to your office and look at flights or whatever, that you had no soul. So that's pretty much what I did. I mean, had I had a smartphone back then, I think I would have
You
done
would
it
have
as
done
you
it
all
as we talked,
as you
yeah.
would have talked. And I mean, I think without saying, without using much hyperbole, that really was a life-changing moment.
Yeah.
I remember just being very hesitant, as I was waiting to take my flight down there. What am I going to do? And as soon as you got out of the airport, kind of saw how devastated things were,
Sure.
and thought you had to do something.
I think to me that's still every trip I go on. I don't know how many it's been now, but every trip I'm always reluctant beforehand. It's like, what, you think I can do something? That's a very common, very very common feeling. So I see you've come up with a list on some of the trips you've been on. So do you want to just go through them,
I
or
was
how?
just curious. Yeah, I wanted to count them, and so depending if you're superstitious or not, I can say 12 official BonaResponds trip,
Okay,
and then one more that wasn't.
okay,
So this way, you avoid using 13 if
sure,
that
yeah,
bothers
yeah,
you.
yeah. Doesn't bother me, but
Yeah, so I was just trying to figure that out. So yeah, I figure
so you've been just quickly looking down. You went to Biloxi, past Christian,
En-
Enterprise. Oh, you can do it.
Enterprise, Bay St. Louis, and back to Pass Christian at
Couple
Randy's a
times.
couple times. Yeah, I remember one of the people, saying that it takes a special kind of person that, a certain kind of person finds their way to Randy's Rangers, and I thought, wow, I've been there like 5 times.
So past Christian, Mississippi. That was after Katrina.
Yep.
Just quickly tell the listeners haven't been there. So just quickly, what was it like, and what did we?
Well, when we got there, Pass Christian was still a bunch of slabs.
Yeah.
It's right on the coast. Randy's camp was not even maybe a quarter mile directly from
Yeah,
the coast or something
probably.
like that.
Yeah.
And the entire neighborhood was just, you kind of wonder, where did people live here? And it wasn't until you actually got a good look, and the houses were just so completely destroyed
Sure.
that they were down to the slab. So our first time there, we helped build Randy's camp so people could stay there and do work, and we would go back there and help.
So we literally put up the tents where people stayed. We built the laundry room.
Laundry
we built
room,
the kitchen. Well, the kitchen, the dining area.
And a connector between the two.
Yes, I forgot it. I still
tools.
feel bad about that because I almost knocked someone out working on that. I dropped a big piece of wood off the top of the. I was up on the roof and it dropped and hit.
That was you.
That was me. Yeah.
Yeah, stuff happens.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, so I think Randy's. I mean, and as you know, we obviously made a good connection with Randy, and we
Yeah.
worked many times with him.
And so that was one of the things where our efforts were able to help a lot of people, not directly, but I mean
Sure.
this way, 100 people at a time could stay there,
Yeah.
and then spread out into the neighborhoods and do whatever needed to be done.
Yeah.
And then Bridge City was our first directly Katrina related response.
Bridge City, I have great memories of Bridge City. Bridge City, for you who don't know.
It's a refinery town.
Yes, it was. What happened there? First of all, January.
That was Ike.
Hurricane
Okay.
Ike, very good.
Although some people still had, I know one of the houses we worked at,
Yeah.
the guy, their house had been flooded from Rita.
Yep, I remember
And
that.
he had
You told me that.
just finished. About a month.
Great timing, buddy.
Um,
Yeah, it got hit again. Bridge City was a weird one for numerous trips. I mean, it was one of my best trips. I
Yeah.
loved it. Great crew, hard working crew. We worked with Church of Christ, if I remember correctly.
the Church of the DRT, which is still, I was really impressed with that organization.
Oh, yeah,
You know, that they
yeah.
just had semi-trailers full of stuff ready to go at a couple of places in the country. So
Absolutely, yeah.
Just,
Mark was the leader.
Yep.
I remember Mark. Mark was a great guy.
Mhm.
So I guess just many things about it. I remember the smell when we first got there.
Yep.
It was a refinery town. What can you say? But it went.
Got used to it.
It was just well. I think it must have been the wind the first day because it was really bad the first day and the last day, and the most of the middle I didn't notice it as much. I know a couple months ago now I talked with Bill, who was on that trip, and one of his memories of that trip was that he went into, and you may have gone in with him, I don't know, to a local bar. Were you?
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, you want some supervision in these things. So,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Bill and I, we bit the bullet.
With the chaperones, yeah.
We took that on.
Use the term loosely.
Florida was playing for the national championship again.
So you had to go. It was almost mandated. And when you were there, again, I wasn't there, so you'll have to tell me if this is true. But the locals didn't want anything to do with you. Is that?
For a little bit.
Yeah, right.
Apparently, for some reason, they thought that we were FEMA. Now,
we're not.
I can see where they might think that Bill and I might be, government employees or something like that, but not the other group of
Sure.
18 to 22-year-olds that were with us.
Yeah.
And the owner had said something about that. Actually, this is Texas, so the college national championship game is important, and they said we could stay for that, but that they wouldn't guarantee our safety beyond that. And I was a little perplexed.
Yeah.
As was Bill, and thankfully Bill started talking to the guy and cleared things up, and I think we went back to that place
every night.
just about every night.
Yeah.
Afterwards. So, and the rest of the crew.
Once they figured out we weren't with FEMA.
That there were volunteers, and that was a very friendly group of kids. They always are.
were.
But this was a particularly outgoing bunch.
They were a great group. Yeah.
So they endeared themselves to the community very rapidly
Yes.
with comically bad karaoke.
Is there another kind?
No. And we even, one of the patrons there had recognized us because we were working on a house that was down the street,
really?
down the street from his one of those days. So
Nice.
it all worked out.
Yeah. Then you have, is that your +1, your next trip?
Yeah, the next one was it's not an official BonaResponds
That's
trip.
very true. Not a BonaResponds trip. Yeah.
But Bonnie, Carrie.
Larry.
Yeah, Larry.
Yeah.
But I think I'm missing someone. No, that was it.
Carry me, you. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, there were
for
only
that
4 of
trip.
us. Yeah, because we attempted to go with a larger group.
And it got snowed out. I did, at least. I'm not sure. Was that your my?
I heard varied stories where that the airline was having labor issues, which is why they were canceling
Yeah.
flights.
But anyways, we couldn't make it, so ended up going back.
We got to Haiti about, by then, 6 months after the earthquake there.
I think in the life-changing events for me, I think that has to go up pretty high on that list.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking that. I would say for you that must be the case because, the things that the BonaResponds and all the other spin-off groups have done for Haiti has been just mind-boggling. I probably couldn't list them all because...
It started on that trip.
Yeah, it all started there.
So your recollections or reflections on Haiti? I mean, just...
I tell people that was simultaneously the best and worst 2 weeks of my life.
Interesting way of putting it. I sort of agree, but go on.
I mean, I guess people need to remember that the before picture there wasn't great to begin with. And, I just keep thinking the dichotomy of, people we met there everyone. You get the feeling that they deserve more than this. Mm-hmm. And it was, if you look back at the history of Haiti, they have just never had a functioning government / society, and
a lot of bad breaks.
And knowing that, because people don't realize how closely linked Haiti and the United States history are. If they hadn't had a successful slave rebellion there, France would probably not have sold Louisiana to us.
And the whole thing mushrooms down.
Changes a lot, yeah. But I still feel fortunate that I was able to go down there to help, the little bit that I could, which was clearing out, people's homes. And we met Wesley, which snowballed into a lot of other things.
Yes. Who's Wesley? Let's just put it out there for everyone else.
I mean, everyone, they don't.
The world doesn't know Wesley yet. Yeah.
Okay.
It's our job to make sure they know.
So when we got to Haiti, one of the first.
And we were working. Just backtrack 1 second. We were working with all hands.
With all hands, hands on, whatever the greatest group of people outside of BonaResponds there is.
Okay.
It is a really.
They are great.
Good bunch,
they are.
And you've said we're shamelessly modeled.
Oh, totally. I mean, I've told Bill. I've told them all, but Dave Campbell, the founder, that to the second we are all hands wannabes.
Right. And so we were working with them in Leogan, and one of the first homes that we just ended up, we signed up on the board.
Yeah.
Was this Wesley, who was, how old was he at the time?
I don't know. I'll say 23, 24?
Yeah, I was very bad at age guessing.
I don't know.
There. Yeah. But so, in his concrete home, it just pretty much completely collapsed.
Yeah.
And so he was living with an aunt.
Yeah. His mom and his aunt.
And his aunt that were in the house behind him.
Could I tell you a little connection? I don't know if you know. We had another connection to Wesley before we knew Wesley.
Oh, we did?
Yes. Before we went down, we missed him by less than a week. A volunteer who was on our first trip, the very, very first trip to Biloxi, before you, etc.
Oh, wow.
He had quit his job and had gone down to volunteer, and I don't remember how long he was there. Andy, I think he was there for 3 weeks. It might have been a little more. And he had helped finish off the demolition of the house to bring it all down to the ground floor. I had no idea. Came home, posted pictures, and he said, "Wait, I did that house." So BonaResponds was on the house before we were even there. Yes. So that's great. So, anyways, sorry to interrupt. But
so after
that was the main job.
After 4 or 5 days, I still have it on my Facebook page. I took like 2 pictures a day that we were there until we were actually finished with it.
Okay.
And of just shoveling cement chunks.
It was the hardest job I've ever done.
That was physically brutal. The worst was finding where to put the rubble.
Mount Flynn.
And pushing that wheelbarrow up Mount Flynn or whoever was actually working it that day. And
so just again, filling in the story, you take it out of a house, there's a lot of debris, you had to pile it somewhere to build a new house.
And when everyone's house is destroyed, that's a lot of debris.
Yeah, and it wasn't like put it out to the road. It was put in a wheelbarrow, carry it down, I don't know. I mean, it was a football field.
And then up 10, 12 feet.
Yeah, and then drop it off. It was tough work, and it was hot, and I mean, that was tough. That was a tough trip.
And Wesley quickly became our guy.
Yes, hero.
I mean, he would interface with
all of us,
translate for everyone.
Yep. And he still is. It's rare. I don't hear from him a couple times a week still to this day. Just a great guy. Just a phenomenal guy. In fact, as an update, today he started training. He is going back to working for the UN as a radio.
I saw that.
You did? Yeah, very good.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's a great guy. How did we end that? I think that was always one of my favorite parts of that. What did you do as we left his house? Do you remember?
I remember his mother cooked us conch.
Well, yes, yeah.
And
that
was really good.
That they're cooking for us that have everything speaks volumes.
Yeah.
But what did you particularly do? Do you remember? What did you give the last as we were leaving?
Oh, so this poor guy is living in a house with like 7 other women or
Yes,
something.
yeah.
So we gave him our tents.
Yes, yeah,
For which he was. I mean, he still thanks us.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, every once in a while for that.
Now, the rest of them don't know, and a subsequent trip, I stayed at his new house.
Right.
Just, he's done wonderful things. He's working in a couple schools now. He has taken students out and planted well over 200 trees. So he's still doing great stuff. So, as you said, Wesley's the man. There's just not much else to say about that. So, other trips you've been on?
One that people don't remember very well is we went to Springfield a couple times.
Yeah.
In Massachusetts.
I would have guessed that was 2011 because I thought that was right after Tuscaloosa. Huh.
No, unless I had the camera dates wrong. 'Cause I actually did check on this because I remember because I was actually not home for a while.
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty sure.
So Springfield,
And so we went a couple times in a short time frame
Massachusetts. Tuscaloosa, that was another enormous trip.
That was, and so I only went there once. I know you all went back a couple of times.
Yeah.
But that was also there was a lot of chainsawing, a lot of oak.
Yeah. Tuscaloosa, I get asked all the time, what's the worst you've ever seen? You know, of everywhere you've been. Tuscaloosa ranks up there.
As far as just the physical devastation.
Physical devastation.
More might be.
More Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I mean, they're all in the ballpark. They're all in the conversation.
Yeah. These were at least small. I mean, you keep going back to, like, especially Katrina, that was hundreds of miles.
Absolutely.
Of
there's no question.
Very complete devastation.
And I should have phrased that a little better.
Yeah.
Total destruction in Katrina.
Right.
There's nothing else that compares. But if we're looking at more of small area, concentrated nothingness, exactly.
Tuscaloosa was bad.
Yeah, the ones I put in the conversation, just for your sake at least, I put in Tuscaloosa, I put in Breezy Point, where the fires destroyed acres and acres of homes.
Give you that one, yep.
And more, I mean, where it hit the worst was pretty bad. So those are the three. And Haiti, I don't know what to say with Haiti because I never saw it before.
Yeah.
But Haiti clearly, and overall, gets in there as well.
Yeah.
So, okay, and more, and then of course you have worked on probably hundreds of local jobs.
I don't know if I'm in triple digits, but I try when I can.
Yeah. So, and I guess we will talk for a while longer, of course. But you brought some props here. It's always great when people bring things with us.
I did. I just wanted to say, because I know that on a couple of these you had asked, how long have they been with BonaResponds? So I can say that I've been with BonaResponds.
There you go.
Long.
There you go, the first one.
So for those of you that have only been the last couple of years, this is the first.
There we go. Have the map down.
That was not the actual route they took. I've been told.
No. We hope not.
Although
Sean Lynch helped put that together. I remember he was the student leader on that one, and
awesome.
And Sean is an interesting one because of all the graduates, he is and I hate to say this, I'm not calling anyone else out. I'm just complimenting Sean. He is the only person who has, from the very beginning, donated every single month since he graduated.
Oh, wow.
Now, there is another now that has graduated a few years ago that has done it every month. Anna, props to Anna. But Sean has been literally from day one, every time we get a check from him. So.
Yeah. I remember Sean one time at Randy's, he came and didn't have, like, work clothes.
I remember that.
Couple.
I remember. He actually graduated. He was working in New York.
Yeah.
And he flew down from New York. Was I'll be able to buy something. Well, he worked for a day in investment banking clothes. Yeah, I do remember that. So what else do you have?
And the other one, this is also from that trip in Biloxi, where a select number of people.
So what did you have to do to earn that?
He had to fight mold. I don't know if you can be able to see that, but that was the gutting was sort of like the glamour job because you just got to swing sledgehammers and just kind of be brutish about things.
I did that.
If you didn't have the seniority for the gut jobs, you were remediating mold. And
Hands on Gulf Coast. I remember when they went by that.
Yep. And you had to dress up in a Tyvek bodysuit.
Yep.
Have the big respirator on.
Sure.
And literally just scrub all the exposed studs and everything to get the mold off. And what the hand brush didn't get, you would get an electric grinder and get it
Yeah.
off there. And then wipe everything, vacuum and wipe everything down. And the suits made it less than fun.
Yeah, I was going to say unbearable, but you call it less than fun. Yeah.
And it did. I mean, in that heat,
Yeah.
and it was like you were in a house where there was no electricity, so you didn't have lights,
You didn't have
and so
fans,
you wearing
yeah.
goggles and they're fogging up, and you're not sure if you're scrubbing everything, and
Yeah.
and if you did that for at least 4 days, you got one of these. And I think I got mine after 3 because I think we worked on this one house that the leader said was like the worst that he had seen.
So you got extra bonus
So
points.
we got double duty for that
Yeah.
for that house.
It's actually fascinating, and we won't talk a lot about it today because it could literally be a whole other interview some other date on mold and how mold abatement and mold treatment. One of the things that we get to job sites, and this happened last week to me in Oklahoma, people have no idea at all.
Yeah.
No idea. And they go, oh, we sprayed it with bleach. I'm like, well, that's really not enough. And no one wants to hear it. You can be the bad guy really fast when you.
Or that how long you really have to let it dry.
Yeah. I mean, you can literally get people really upset
Or they don't understand exactly how sick
yeah.
that actually can
Yeah.
make you.
Yeah. So that's a tough one when you have to tell people.
Yeah.
I just want to point out that I do have a all hands, but there's no proof. I just you can't see it. It's all worn off. This is truly an all hands.
I think I have one like that too.
Yeah.
Was that originally light blue?
I think so. Yeah, it was originally light blue before it got dirty, and yeah, but
No, my BonaResponds one doesn't say BonaResponds anymore.
okay. Well, we can get you another one of those. So, just what is this one? One more, just
Oh,
because.
this was the other one that I just kept. That was the our kind of ID bracelets for the place we're at in Biloxi.
Oh, for the big trip.
Yeah.
For the big trip. Okay.
Remember, it was funny seeing. I know a lot of the kids especially wore them for
Oh,
a long
when they
time
came home.
afterwards. Yeah,
Absolutely.
So you could almost spot everyone.
Badge of honor.
You can almost spot,
Yeah.
everyone because there were a couple hundred people total at that site.
Yeah, we took down 286 on that trip with 5 sites. I think we had about 77, if I remember,
right.
from Bonus at that site, and out of the 200 plus.
Yeah, I mean we had
there.
a plurality there by
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, yeah. That was an amazing trip, and I still look back at it like just an amazing trip.
Yeah.
So, one of the things that I think is interesting is how you do keep coming back. I mean, I drive most people away, so I mean.
Well, it takes a special kind of person.
Yeah. Same barber, must be it, right?
Yeah, for a while the joke was that you had to be a bald male faculty member to work with BonaResponds.
Well, might be some truth now. No truth. Just come on out. But what do you think? I mean, I guess you said it life changing. Just a little about what you get out of BonaResponds. We'll talk a little later about what you put into it. But what do you get out of it?
I guess it was something that either you said or you were paraphrasing someone. But it's when you're doing this, you're kind of like the person that you want to be.
Yeah.
That I think deep down inside people would rather. I mean, if you see someone that they can't get out of their house anymore and says, "Would you help this person build a ramp?" You're like, "Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't get out of the house."
Yeah.
And it's weird. I mean, because when you mentioned this before, I was trying to think of an answer, but now I guess I've done this enough that I actually don't even think about it much anymore. It's like, oh well, so it's Sunday. I can, I'm free. I'll go help, Jim build a ramp or whatever else is going on that day.
I am totally blown away, and I keep going back to ramps, and we do so much else, but to ramps, what a difference ramps make. I get friends, have friends all over the world, and they all ask, why do you build so many ramps? And I'm just going to take it back to Oklahoma for a second, and I know the last interview I talked about this as well, but here's a family that literally the mom cannot get out of the house.
Yeah.
If you can't get out of the house, you can't have a job, you can't get the kids to school, there's so much you can't do.
Try to leave your home without your legs.
Yeah.
And see how well that day goes.
And you get them, and a ramp gets them around that roadblock, and all of a sudden, everything opens up. They have a life again. And I just, for whatever the number is now with inflation, I'm going to guess it's about $21 a $21 a linear foot. there's not a better bargain in the world.
No.
It's just, there really isn't. So.
Yeah. I've been amazed at, just the need that was there for that. I mean, so we live in, for those of you that don't know, Cattaraugus County, so a county of about 50,000 people.
Yeah.
And we've built over 100.
Over 100 locally, 130 everywhere, but
Yeah.
over 100 locally. It's just, it's pretty staggering, honestly. And have requests for, at any given point, between 8 to 12 more, and literally just log into the computer and they're there.
Yep.
So, unfortunately, I have to wait a while, but we'll get to them eventually, I guess. Why do you think more people don't come out? Do you think it's I've heard Jim Mahari's an idiot, I don't want to work with him?
We try not to, say that out loud, at least not till everyone, not till they're actually in the van and
Yeah,
can't get
and
out.
signed up and
Right.
at least a few miles down the road.
I'm not sure. So I would say, for the larger trips, we always talked about getting, faculty, or as I call it, grown-up involvement. And I know for a lot of people, the time commitment, and
Sure.
you've got other issues.
Everyone has, yeah.
When I first started, I wasn't married. I became married as a result of BonaResponds.
That's how I was going to close the interview. You just blew it.
Sorry about that. You can edit it if you want.
No.
But so you can understand for the larger trips.
Sure.
If you have family commitments, that can
Sure, it's tough to, and
can't
people
leave
are
for
all
a
busy.
week.
People are all busy. I get it.
The local stuff, it might be they just don't think they can actually help.
Okay.
As much as they can is just a
Sure. Right.
Um,
And obviously, Greg, and I go back to a comment Greg has told me hundreds of times. There's not an awful lot of special what we're doing. We're picking things up. We're moving things. Anyone can do 90+% of what we do.
maybe they're not keenly aware of that, and
Yeah.
especially go back to the ramp thing.
Yeah.
That might not be the perception.
Yeah.
That for things like that, or even for some other construction persons, if you have one person
Yeah.
that knows how to do it and can
Sure.
communicate reasonably well, so one of us needs to know how to build the post or where to put them
Sure.
to the ramp. But as far as you're right, screwing the decking on,
Yeah.
you show the person how to use the drill in a minute, and they
They've
can
got
figure
it.
that out.
Yeah.
I know that
I think
used
it's
to be-
something that I tell people, I tell my class, that if I can do it, anyone can do it. It's pretty true there.
There were times that I've wanted to help with certain things and thought, am I just going to be in the way because I don't know how to do that?
Never the case.
The Katrina thing seemed like such a huge thing that I no longer cared, and I thought I would just go and do whatever I could. And maybe once you get over that feeling, then you can say, okay, I'll try building a ramp.
Yeah. So. good.
Our ramp designs have evolved a bit.
Oh, I think, it's funny, the first ramp, and I don't know, did you ever work on Mrs. Twitty's ramp in Olean? First ramp I did. It was the second ramp BonaResponds ever did. The first one, Larry and a few other.
I don't think I was in on that one.
Okay, the first one they did, I didn't do that one. The second one ever I did. And I still remember wandering the halls of Home Depot thinking, what did I agree to? How am I possibly going to do this? Larry had sent me, I don't even know, a PDF that was probably like this big, to read. And I'm like, Larry clearly doesn't understand who he's dealing with here. Directions, But wandering up and down thinking, well, if we buy that, we can put that together for hours. But point is, I hear from her regularly. In fact, I was supposed to stop over there on Friday. I didn't get to it. I'll hope to tomorrow. She now sends out our thank you cards. So
nice.
when someone makes a donation, you get a card from
Oh, cool.
Bev Twitty.
Nice.
So it makes a difference to be able to get out. What else? Do you want? We can talk about Haiti. We can talk about just getting people involved. Recommendation. How about from a student? So let's do that. You're faculty here. I'm faculty here. So let's talk about how students, the change you see in students on these trips, from not only from a different perspective. It's not just someone sitting there in the class, the whole person growing, but also just out of environment where. In my case, I deal with people in finance, and many of them have not ever done anything like this.
Right. Same thing for the sciences and grade. I think when we started, no one had done
Sure. Right.
stuff like this. the Bona student body as a whole is a pretty caring bunch, I think,
Absolutely.
and given the opportunity, and this is, I think, one of the things that I always continually thank you for is that you make it easy to help. And so
Try.
I'm thankful that on any random Saturday or Sunday I just have to show up at the appropriate time and we'll go off and build that week's ramp or whatever, and really appreciate the background work. I mean, you do this. I mean, for most people, this would be an actual full-time job.
Oh, it'd be so lucky. No.
and in addition to your actual job as finance professor and all the other things that you get. So you typically, the idea is just try to get people to come once. I never got as good as Greg, who would just literally bang on someone's door and yank them. But
people like Greg don't come along every day. Good and bad.
Yeah,
they're good. He may be listening to this, so good and bad. But yeah.
And as far as getting them involved, there was a change, and it was always the change, like in the buses.
Mm-hmm.
When we were doing that on the way there and on the way back, it wasn't the same group of people at all.
So wait, let's talk a little about that. We started out using buses
because we had a total of about. Well, he said we took down about 280 people.
Correct, 286 people in the
and that was
trip.
4 buses, 4 or 5.
I think it was 5.
Because it was at 5 places.
No, it was 4. It was 4 buses because some people met us down there.
Right.
55 a bus, so it was 4.
Okay. So a bunch of buses anyway.
Yeah.
And even I think one of the most impressive things back then, because for that spring break, I think every college had sent someone down.
Sure. Just not as big as ours.
Percentage-wise, no one came close to us, which is yay.
Yeah.
But I think equally impressive was the year, a year and 6 months after that we still had 60 or 70 people going down there.
Yep.
Which was not common, I think.
We tend to stick things out, I think, pretty well, whether it's whatever we had made 9 trips down after the Gulf Coast to 14 trips to after Sandy to
there's always something to do, right?
Haiti, we're still there and growing there.
Yeah, and doing other things.
In Oklahoma now, we're starting to build a relationship with them down there. Yeah, so it's good. How do you see BonaResponds, I guess, the future? You see it evolving in the sense that I don't know. I haven't talked to him about this at all, putting him on the spot.
Well, let's see. Think about how we've evolved. We went from doing, basically big disaster responses to we have one local service day a year.
Right.
And now we have, local service Saturday, Sunday,
Sometimes
Friday afternoon.
yeah, exactly. And we have different groups now. We have a group that goes out to the SPCA quite regularly.
Right. Probably, and who knows what the next version of ramp building is going to be. You'll get some call about some need that we didn't know, and
sure.
But hopefully, I think what would be great to see is that we would get more student involvement
and faculty involvement. I'm always looking for faculty too.
Yeah, but do you want all of us to?
Yeah, well, I'll take my chances. Okay, wait. There's a couple. Never mind.
More involvement. Period.
Yes, more involvement, period, yes.
And probably, what I would think as a board member, I think to maybe assure that we have more
depth.
I was going to say, I don't want to say consistent student leadership or that we focus on that so that there's always replacements that are already trained and coming in. People have stepped up in some pretty spectacular ways when we weren't expecting it.
Yep.
But if that could be actual part of our
this past year didn't work. I'll take the blame, but the year before we had, I would argue, as good if not better student leaders than we've ever had.
But like you were saying,
and they all graduated.
That group, that was Greg and them and
Greg and Nick and all of them, Lily and
chemistry majors, by the way, just saying.
Yeah.
That they don't come along. Sean Lynch's.
They don't come along every time, right?
But maybe if we could actually, make it a point to actually start to train people and find a appropriate reward structure for that.
Well, that's what, when we started the Marge Mahar Scholarship for BonaResponds leaders, that's what that was supposed to do. Hasn't worked as we hoped yet. in part, well, whatever. It just hasn't worked as we hoped yet.
I mean, there
Yeah.
are management programs in the School of Business, I've heard,
I've heard that too. Yes, yeah,
and they would be perhaps where they would learn these types of skills.
possibly so, possibly.
But I think that would be something to be certain
Yeah.
that there always is.
Yeah,
You know,
I agree.
there are always Sean's and Greg's
Yeah.
and them.
And the other thing I think we need to worry about at some point is, more drivers to get to, unless, right now, we have, I mean, me, you, sometimes Jen can go on trips, but we don't have, the over 25 clean driving record people willing to be able to drive.
That's what we need right now.
I mean, that's the thing going forward, we're definitely gonna do, yes, yeah.
I mean, as far as what the actual requirements are.
Yeah, that's changes somewhat, but the last I've heard from the university, that's.
Yeah, so then we need to get non-student
Right.
involvement for that.
Yeah.
Because our students for the most
And
part
maybe
are.
retirees, maybe whatever. I mean, Larry was great when he went on trips, but he's no longer, he's sort of taken a step back, and
Right.
I mean, he travels and everything else, so, I mean, that's something that I think is a big need. If this were our board meeting, that's what I'd be saying.
Right.
We need
I
that.
see that.
So, well, good, thank you so much. I guess we'll do one more, since you are on that supposed club that I want to kill Jim club. Never denied it.
With the
never-
secret org chart?
the secret organizational chart. I don't know if you're on it, but I mean, I presume. What things, I mean, I guess critique, critique me in the sense of what should I do differently, I think.
People generally want to eat a lot more than you do.
What? I eat a lot, just not very frequently. How's that?
Okay, people generally want to eat more
Frequently.
frequently than
Yeah,
you do.
details.
In actual food.
My food is food. It's good enough for the birds. It's good enough for me. Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
That actually is pretty much it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I can get them more food.
They just
Well,
did lunch break.
Lunch? Wait, no. Now you're talking out of work. I thought you meant just normal ongoing. Okay. Well, we can.
No,
try that.
throwing up a granola bar to someone while they're on the ladder does not count as lunch.
I'll carry it up next time. Hand it off.
Small steps.
Yeah, baby steps. That's all we can do. Well, I guess there's a lot of exciting things happening this year, so I hope you're involved in as many as you can.
Oh, yeah.
With the group coming from Haiti, which I think is going
That's
to be
awesome news,
phenomenal.
yeah.
For those of you who don't know, I just probably an hour ago got out of a meeting that basically I said we are going to do everything we can to bring 15 to 20 Haitians here to St. Bonaventure, and they're going to be taking classes for 2 weeks. Specially led classes. They also go in and sit in on some classes as long as the teacher okays it. But mainly we'll be doing classes in business and in science, and we hope political science. We have to go talk to someone over there to teach the class. But taking them on tours of from again, I'm going to speak a little more than I know yet, but Canonical Farms I think seems like a logical place to take them. To a dairy farm in town, or not in town, local dairy farm, to whatever. I think I'm really excited about it. I think that's going to be big.
Yeah, that is.
So, all right. Well, anything else you want to wrap up before you?
You can make a difference.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
if you're, if what's stopping you is you just kind of wonder can I really make it? Can I really help? Can I really make a difference? The answer is yes. No matter how big or how small the actual contribution is, it's helping someone. It's
Sure.
making them better. So let that guide you.
I just missed a prop the entire time. You also have beads.
Oh, the beads.
You also have beads on. Go ahead, tell the story.
Oh, these are actually
You
from
didn't have
Biloxi.
to flash for them, did you?
No.
Okay.
No, these were just straight up gifts. These were someone that the hands-on people in Biloxi had helped.
Okay.
A little before we got there, but not much.
Okay.
Because I think we were just after Mardi Gras that year.
I don't
Or
remember.
real
but
close
okay,
to it.
yeah, right.
And so that there was he had just gotten them a box of, apparently these are pretty high quality beads, and I randomly picked this one, and I was told that the ones that are not all a single color are kind of rare.
Oh,
So I still break it out every Mardi Gras.
very
to
good.
Remember.
And see, I thought it was one of our many trips. We usually try to do, especially when we have a bigger group, do a half day off to go see things. And one of the frequent trips was to New Orleans.
Right?
So I thought that's what I thought you headed for.
No.
No, okay, all right.
I have some of those too, but
Yeah, all right. And I guess the final one, the final question, which I originally was going to ask you, was you go back and you go back in time and you see BonaResponds starting, and you decide to join. And have you ever thought, gee, I shouldn't have done that, or are you happy you did that, remembering that your wife will be listening to this?
Well, I mean, for that reason alone,
It was the best
it was
decision
the
you've
best
ever
decision I
made. Okay, there we go.
But no, it really was. And even though, I mean, I didn't meet her until actually it was the October surprise snowstorm is when we actually
Oh,
first
really?
met. Yeah,
I didn't realize that.
yeah. She went on the big trip,
But she went to base St. Louis, was it?
No,
Long Beach.
Long Beach, yeah.
She was in Long Beach.
So
Okay.
we didn't
I
see
knew
each
she
other.
wasn't in Biloxi. Okay.
Yeah, we didn't see each other at all on that one.
Okay.
It wasn't until that October that we actually met.
So that October, and just background for everyone, that
That's when
October,
we learned about chainsaws.
yes, a life-changing experience in and of itself.
For better or for worse, but yeah.
I was away. I think I may have mentioned this in another interview, but I was at a finance conference, and I remember calling you or texting. I don't remember how, and saying, "Help! We're going to Buffalo tomorrow. Can you go get keys and whatever
Yeah.
else it was?"
Yeah, and we loaded up in a van and found a neighborhood that
Yep.
needed helping and just started.
So and we were up there for 6 weekends after that, and so that's where you met Jen. I didn't realize. I thought you met in Mississippi. No, okay.
That was the actual meet, yeah.
Okay. Well, then you were both at Randy's, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure that I thought I was totally losing my mind.
Yeah, we were both at the first trip to Randy's and actually the second and
Right. Okay. All right.
Second one, too.
Okay. That's okay. I feel better about things now. I always got it. Okay. Well, that's good. That's all I've got. Is there anything you want to talk about, or will we wrap it up?
No, come on and help us.
Yeah.
Volunteer.
Totally.
Or help volunteer, period.
Volunteer, change the world with us, with whoever. Hope with us. Think we offer a good value on your free investment to come out with us. But yeah. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Let's see if I can turn this off at the same time. Close.